Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about fast passing and everything that you need to know about planning a perfect day at Hollywood Studios or a perfect few days at Hollywood Studios. If you haven't seen the rest of this series, make sure to go and check it out. There is a lot of information going on there that I'm not going to repeat too much of it because obviously some people have already watched the whole thing. So if you haven't already watched the rest of this series, I've already done 4 parts, which is booking your vacation, where to go on which day, and fast passing and your day at Magic Kingdom as well as Epcot. I will link it above so it's nice and easy for you guys to find at the end of the video. And make sure to stay tuned for the rest of this series, which will be coming out every Thursday at 7 PM UK time, as well as the rest of my videos which come out every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at 7 PM UK time every single week. So let's get into it. As I always say at the beginning of these videos, if you haven't already downloaded the My Disney Experience app, go and do it right now. This is such an important thing to have. It's literally everything you will need in booking your perfect day, including meal reservations, your fast passes, finding your way around the park and all those types of things. So if you're interested in booking meals, it isn't one of the previous videos, but you can do it 180 days before your vacation and you can do it on the My Disney Experience app. And also fast passes can be booked 60 days before your vacation for your entire vacation if you're staying on Disney property. If you're staying off Disney property, you can book your fast passes from 30 days before, but you can only do 1 day at a time. Which is why I always say if you are staying on site, once you can book your fast passes, book them from the end of your vacation backwards to the beginning, so that the people who are now booking their 30 days will still not be able to get those final days, whereas you will unlock them earlier. So make sure to do that, and make sure on your final days put the most important rides or the most popular rides, as you'll have more luck there. Other things to know about fast passes is you can have 3 a day. They can't overlap each other in time. They all have to be at the same park, and once you've used up all your 3 fast passes, you can then book another one at a time until the end of the day. But you have to have used the previous one until you can book another one. Another thing about fast passes, which we only recently figured out, is that they release more fast passes at 1 minute past every hour on the day. So for example, you've used up all your 3 fast passes and you're looking for a fast pass for Fantasmic and there aren't any available, but it's 10 past 12, right? Wait until 1 minute past 1 and look again. They always release more, so if people have cancelled them so that they can go to another park or so that they can have another ride, etc., then they release more 1 minute past the hour every hour. So that's a really good tip to know if you are wanting to book extra fast passes on the day. So getting straight onto which rides you can fast pass and which ones are best to fast pass, we will be talking all about the tiers. Now they don't have tiers at Magic Kingdom, but at Epcot and Hollywood Studios as well as Animal Kingdom, which will be coming next week, there are 2 tiers. You can pick 3 fast passes, 1 from tier 1 and 2 from tier 2. So we'll get straight into the rides that are in tier 1. There is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is the brand new ride that's just come out, and it used to be the Great Movie Ride. Now actually I haven't been on this yet because it literally only opened I think last week or the week before, but you'll be surprised at how small the queues are, especially like halfway through the day. So I looked yesterday, it was around midday their time, and literally the queue was I think just over an hour. So for a brand new ride, I would say that's not too bad, and if you plan it wisely you might even get a shorter queue than that. So I would say probably don't pick that one as your fast pass. The next one you can fast pass is the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which is in Galaxy's Edge. I would also say this one has surprisingly short queues. So when we went, we bolted there. This was on the trip I went on in January. We went as soon as the park opened, as it was before you could get a fast pass for it, as that only opened I think end of January, start of February. And basically we queued for about 90 minutes I think, which we didn't think was too bad, but then we looked back on later in the day and the queue had actually gone down to less than an hour. So I would say keep your eye on the queue times for Millennium Falcon, but you don't really need to fast pass it. You could go there early in the morning or you could go around midday. They also do have a single rider queue there, so if either you don't mind riding on your own or if you are on your own, then that's another opportunity as well. And sometimes the queue can be shorter, although they do always tell you to bear in mind that the queue could be equally as long in single rider, so don't count on it having a shorter queue. And the final ride in tier 1 is Slinky Dog Dash. Now I would say this is the ride. This is all considering you're only only going for one day. Obviously, if you're going for multiple days, then you can pick one each day. But if you only have one option, I would say Slinky Dog Dash, definitely fast pass if you plan to go on it. The reason it has such a big queue all the time is because it has the biggest audience. So literally, I think the height restriction is probably around a meter or so. Most people, it might even be less, it might even be like 80 centimeters. So pretty much everyone can go on this ride. It's so much fun, it's not scary, it is fun for adults though. So it has a massive audience, basically everyone wants to ride it, and this will be the one that has a massive queue. If I can find the clip from the vlog, I will include it. So it's 8:10 and the queue for Slinky Dog's already 135 minutes, so we're gonna not do that. But basically, we had gone in, we got our Rise of the Resistance boarding pass, I will talk about that in a second, and by the time we'd got to Slinky Dog Dash, the queue was already over 2 hours, and it was about 8:05 when the park opened at 8. So that is definitely the worst one for having big queues, and I would recommend to use your tier 1 fast pass for that ride. As I just mentioned, Rise of the Resistance, most people will know, but just in case you don't, there are no fast passes for Rise of the Resistance. You have to go through the boarding group system, which basically means you have to arrive as the park opens on the app. You have to then get a boarding group and it will call you back later that day. If you are wanting to know more information on it, I did a whole video talking about it. It was super popular, so thank you to everybody that watched that. I will link it just up here so it's easy to find if you're interested or you're unsure on how it works, and it basically includes all the things you need to know to pretty much guarantee yourself to get a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance. Okay, so moving straight on to tier 2. Now there are a lot of things going on in tier 2, including rides and shows and other experiences, but I will mention what they all are. I will say whether I would recommend you to use them here. Bear in mind you get 2 fast passes for the tier 2. So the first one is Rock and Roller Coaster. If this is the kind of ride you like, bear in mind if you have younger kids, maybe avoid this one, but it's a really good roller coaster. Depending, it can get quite big queues, but it's not that big because the ride's been there for such a long time. Also, this ride does have a single rider queue as well, so it's completely up to you as to whether you would fast pass it, but it's not definitely your top priority. Same goes for Tower of Terror. The queues can get quite big sometimes, especially if the parks are really busy. I mean, at the moment with the whole coronavirus thing, I feel like everything's kind of gone out the window, but if you're watching this in the future, then the queues can get up to maybe 2 hours. I think with those, again, you just have to time it right. Keep an eye on it on the app throughout the day. But basically, if you go into the app, click on the map at the top of the screen, you can go to all the different parks, and if you zoom in, it tells you what the current wait time is. So just keep an eye on that throughout the day, and if you see that it's dropped to like 30-40 minutes, then I would head straight on it. That's probably the best it's going to get, unless it's really, really quiet. Another thing to do is think about if you have multiple days there, if you're willing to miss a specific show, if there's maybe Fantasmic and you're not bothered about going on it, you could start queuing up for one of these rides just as it's maybe 15 minutes before it's about to start. You might even make it out in time to head for the show. Next up is Toy Story Mania. Now it's not actually as new as the rest of Toy Story Land, but the queue is usually around an hour. I would say probably just queue for this one. Same with Alien Swirling Saucers. Sometimes we've been on it with like 5-10 minute queue, so it's not actually that big of a queue. But again, if it's something that you're very interested in, then probably go for that one. There's also Star Tours, which you can fast pass. Now, depending on how much you like this ride, you can probably pick a fast pass up on the day after you've used your 3 fast passes, but sometimes the queue's like maybe half an hour, 25 minutes, so that one's not too bad either. And then the rest are basically shows. I'll just tell you what they are. The Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Disney Junior Dance Party, Frozen Sing-Along, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, Muppet Vision 3D, Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage, and Fantasmic. Now, if you have one to spare, I would say Fantasmic is the one to fast pass because you do get a slightly better seat, but at the end of the day, if you show up early, even for the normal bit, you'll get a decent enough seat. And also remember, you can book more fast passes because it's so late at night. As soon as you've used all your 3 fast passes, 1 minute past an hour, have a look, you might get a fast pass for Fantasmic. So I mean, this one is a bit of a hard one. It's totally on your preference of rides, which your favorite rides are. I really like Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster, so I would probably go for those. But obviously, if you're really, or you or your kids are really into Toy Story or Star Wars, then you might change your opinion on what you're going to pick. Or if you really want a front row seat for one of the shows, then that's another reason to pick one of the shows. But as I say, the shows you will get in pretty much guaranteed if you don't have a fast pass. Just maybe turn up 20 minutes, half an hour early, and you'll get a decent seat anyway. And that is the end of the fast pass section. Before I move on, I just want to remind everyone about my new Instagram, which I have opened. It is linked to my YouTube channel, so everything going on there is to do with Disney. There will be future giveaways going on there and all that kind of exciting stuff. So make sure to head over there, please, and give me a follow. I will be following some people back. It is _Lauren.Rachel_. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it. So let's carry on. With the rest of the day, I think a really important thing to know about Hollywood Studios is even though it does have some really good rides, there are a lot of shows going on as well, and obviously these are only at set times throughout the day. So you really need to make sure that you look at the program, which will come out not too long before you go, which kind of makes it a pain, but there's a lot going on in this day. This is probably the most stressful day to get everything in. I would definitely recommend, if you have enough days, go here 2, even 3 or 4 times, because there's so much to get done. And if you don't time everything correctly, then you might end up getting screwed over. You know, if you're in a show and then your boarding group for Rise of the Resistance gets called, that's not the best thing. So just make sure you keep, if you have got a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance, keep an eye on it when it's coming up close to your time. I'm pretty sure at the moment you only get an hour slot. It could be 2 hours, I'm not 100% sure, but you don't get super long. So just make sure you keep an eye on it. If it's coming up to your group, head over there. And there are usually multiple shows anyway, so don't worry too much about that. I'm pretty sure at the moment they only have extra magic hours here at night, because obviously you have to get the boarding group for Rise of the Resistance, and it would be super unfair to let everybody staying in the hotels in before everybody else, as that wouldn't really work out for the boarding group thing. So basically, if you can stay up long enough to come into the park at 8 o'clock or whatever time it opens, bear in mind you have to get there early if you do want a boarding group, and then stay all the way till fireworks and afterwards for extra magic hours, then definitely do that, because you'll get so much done. But obviously, especially if you have children, that's not that easy to do. And this isn't even one of those where I would suggest going home for a nap in the middle of the day like I did at Epcot. So honestly, this is just going to be a tiring day. Maybe plan a day at the pool or Disney Springs or something like that the day after, because you will not be up for doing it again 2 days in a row. After this, you're going to head to the official Walt Disney World website, which is disneyworld.disney.go.com. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it. And basically, you're going to go and see all the attractions and rides that there are there, things that you can do. So go to Parks and Tickets, then click on Hollywood Studios and Attractions and Rides, and it will bring up a list of everything there is. Also, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it will tell you which rides and attractions are closed, as they're not always up and running. Sometimes they've got refurbishments and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you go and check that out so you can see everything that there is to do. And as I say, if you also search for the program on their website, or just type in Google Walt Disney World Hollywood Studios program, it will come up and tell you. Now the program does change every week, but it pretty much it's around the same if it's in the same season. So just keep an eye on it, see if there's any differences from week to week, and you'll get an idea of what it's going to be like when you're going. This is also a bit different to the other parks. I would definitely recommend leaving a decent amount of time for each attraction. When we did the Magic Kingdom one, I was like, if you're in Fantasyland in extra magic hours, you could leave like 5-10 minutes for a ride, whereas here I would say like an hour, even more, for each ride. It takes a long time. Bear in mind the shows there usually about half an hour long, and obviously I would say get to the shows half an hour early if you want a good seat. We usually turn up about half an hour early. You can pretty much turn up on the minute. It always seems that for the Frozen sing-along we turn up on the minute, and you just sit at the back. It's still really good, it's really fun, and you can see from everywhere, so that's not something to worry about. But I would say if you want a really good seat, head there about half an hour, 20 minutes early, and then it's also half an hour on top of that, and then you've got to get out through the crowds and everything. So definitely leave a decent amount of time for all these things. Same with the rides. Sometimes the queues do get quite long. Even if you're fast passing, fast pass queues can get long. Always, I do like to say, remember about ride breakdowns. You're not definitely guaranteed on things, especially Rise of the Resistance, because it does break down a lot. I'm sorry if I'm talking really fast. I have no reason for this. Everything is just coming out, so if you can't understand me, just ask me in the comments and I will answer any questions. Also, remember to leave time for food. I think sometimes in your planning you're like, we're doing this now, and then you're like, oh my gosh, we haven't left any time for breakfast, lunch, dinner, any snacks. I would probably say take some snacks with you if you have the opportunity to do that. Obviously, if you have meals booked, you need to plan around this and make sure to still leave time, if not, to go to either a quick service location, or if you do want to just turn up at the last minute for a table service, you can usually get a place. It might not be especially where you want it to be, or you could just take food with you, but you still obviously need to leave time to eat it. Another thing to think about is the other kind of around the park shows. So there's like the March of the First Order and the Jedi training thing, which is like for younger kids. If you're into Star Wars, then they're just kind of they're on like the main stage and stuff, or in Galaxy's Edge. Just make sure you leave time for those. They are also on the program as well though. And I would leave ages to go and look around Galaxy's Edge. It is a massive place. It is so spectacular. There's loads of shops. Bear in mind there's usually a queue to even eat there, so if you want to literally go for food there, it takes around half an hour or 45 minutes just to get into the restaurant, never mind queuing up to buy your food and eating your food. Also, if you want to build a droid, that can have, I'm pretty sure when we went, we were speaking to somebody about it and they said they had to queue up for 2 hours for it. I'm pretty sure there is a way you can do it online. I'm not going to comment on that because I haven't done it and I really don't know, so I don't want to give you out any false information, but I'm pretty sure somebody told us there's basically a virtual queue that you can join and then turn up later. And also another thing to mention is that Fantasmic and the Star Wars nighttime show, I have no idea what it's called. If I can figure it out, I'll put it on the screen. They usually clash. They're usually at the same time. I have no idea why, but basically if you have time to go on 2 separate nights, I would definitely do it because they're both worth a watch, but obviously you can't watch them both on the same day, which is such a shame. And also leave time for shopping too. Like there's so many different things that you can buy. There's basically Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard, or like the streets when you first walk in, and there's loads of shops on there, so make sure you leave a bit of time to go browse in the shop and different things like that as well. Remember, you can walk there from Epcot. A lot of the hotels such as Yacht and Beach Club, Boardwalk and Swan and Dolphin maybe. Sorry if that's false information, but I'm pretty sure that's true. And also you can get the Skyline at Hollywood Studios as well. So if you do fancy nipping out, or if you're on a separate day at maybe Epcot and you have a few hours to spare, you can always nip over and get a couple of extra things done there. And last but not least, make sure you have a fabulous time. Like that is the most important thing. Things never go to plan. I will just tell you that now. Like it's definitely not going to go to plan, but if you have kind of an ish idea of what you're going to do, then it will definitely prevent arguments. It makes your life easier. You don't have to kind of scramble on the morning, oh I have no idea what rides are there, what's going to happen, and you just walk in. You'll get nothing done. I can promise you that right now. I mean, nothing against the people that do that. Some people actually do that and I'm sure it works out great for them, but all I'm going to say is you will get so much more done if you properly plan it out and make sure you know, have a list of all the things you would like to do. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future uploads, and I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye!